Welcome to the Bold Podcast. I'm Todd Birch, keynote speaker, entrepreneur, and mental fitness coach. I'm here to help you unlock your leadership potential and ignite your personal growth. On the Bolt, my guests and I will dive into inspiring stories of transformation, showing how small shifts in mindset can lead to life-changing benefits. We'll explore strategies for overcoming challenges, building high-performance habits, and leading with confidence. If you're ready to embrace a growth mindset and unlock your full potential, then let's ignite your spark today. Today's guest is Carolyn Cooper, the visionary guide behind the AIM High System and the Love Inspired Leadership podcast. With 4 decades of experience, she empowers leaders and visionaries to boldly unleash their authentic power. Her work ignites transformation, guiding others to let love lead, honor their truth, and create legacies with energy, purpose, and courage. Listeners, you're going to love this episode. Carolyn, welcome to the Bold Podcast, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Todd. And honestly, you are my friend. I mean, we met and I felt this incredible synergy and alignment with the way you're showing up to make a difference in this world is so much in alignment. And I love building relationships with people that speak the level of truth and commitment and conviction that you share from. So I am honored to be here.
I love that conviction. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, we just met through another mutual acquaintance friend through podcasting. And it's funny because I don't know if I shared this with you, but in our kind of introduction call a few weeks ago, I was having a pretty crappy day. I was in a bad kind of mindset for having an introduction call. It was later in the day, like 2:00, which is never good for me. I usually
your dishwasher broke.
Yeah, good memory. Yeah, my dishwasher and my trash, the disposal. Yeah, so a double whammy. Had to replace both. And I had just learned that news right before our call. And but yeah, you just got me. It was the best thing. I'm so glad. I thought about canceling. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna have it. And it was the best thing for me that day. So you and I just connected, your energy, it was just a breath of fresh air. So enough about us and how wonderful we are and the connections that we make and the connection that you and I made instantly. But it is a true testament to building real connections. And I've had a few guests recently on my show, and that has been the topic of how to build real, authentic conversations, whether that's through networking, referrals, go-giver, curiosity. You know, there's all types of different ways. And I think today our topic is really going to be focused on love, right? Yeah, we're going to focus on love. That's a big mantra for you. But before we dig in, Carolyn, I would love to I really like to set up the listeners, give them a little bit of history. So you have 4 decades of amazing experience. In a Cliff Notes matter, just tell us a little bit about these 4 decades and what brought you here today and how you found your calling, your purpose.
So 40 years has gone by like a blink of my eye. I will tell you that. And when I discovered entrepreneurship, I fell madly in love with the opportunity to write my own check, to manifest my own success, to realize this enormous opportunity to be bold, to be brave, to stretch out of my comfort zone, to be this eager, lifelong learner, personally and professionally. And the love fest that started, in my 20s has never ceased, never. And my journey has been this willingness to stay purposeful and passionate on the path to success. And when I love what I do, when I am inspired to be creative and innovative and meaningful in my purpose of being a steward and a servant to serve from my highest self, is when I'm the most joy-filled, when I just got truth bumps all over. It's when it's during that time that I know I'm in the flow,
Mm-hmm.
that I know that this is what I'm meant to do. And many times I have let go to lead, which is one of my phrase that pays, that I call it.
Mm.
And I've had the willingness to let things go that have been successful. And I know you have done this because we had that conversation when we
Mm-hmm.
talked last time. And it's, truly my journey has been one of a commitment to keep learning and growing and expanding and aiming higher and rising up, that I call above the line, to be inspired myself. I mean, my business is called The Inspired Connection. I better live that way in order
Mm-hmm.
to be authentic in my position to serve the businesses around the globe. And the power of authenticity and love is the highest frequency and vibration that we can function from. And
Mm.
that's when things happen with ease, with grace, with presence, and it just feels incredibly delicious and yummy.
Mm. Wow. Where do we go from there? That was beautiful. Well, one, kudos to you for one finding that in your 20s. My gosh, I feel like, and this is my one of my saboteurs that's always beating up on me. You're too late. You're so far behind. You're
Never.
approaching 55 years old, and I just found mine, Carolyn. I've been searching for my purpose, and I've been fulfilled ish throughout the years, but it wasn't until I made this most recent pivot where I truly found bliss, happiness, and I've been able to
Mm,
find pieces of flow, like just a taste, and it's like, oh man, that is absolutely, like you say, delicious,
it is.
right? There's nothing like that. It's almost like a meditative state,
Uh-huh.
unconsciously just in a beautiful groove. So anyhow, but good for you. You found it and you stayed on it and you continued to stay on purpose. And we have a lot of entrepreneurs and business leaders that listen to the show. And I think that's a great lesson, is to always make sure you still have the passion,
Yes.
right? Because you can
And the
lose it,
purpose. And the
and the
purpose.
purpose, right? Because you
Mhm.
can lose it easily. We get into business because there's a problem, right? We've seen that there's a gap to fill, and we have this passion and all this expertise in this particular service or industry. And then we go start the business and we're doing all the things, not necessarily the one thing that we enjoyed and had the passion and purpose for, because now we're starting to build and scale, and we're CFO, we're HR, we're ops, right? And that's what happened to me. I'm a graphic designer by trade, and I started the business doing that, and then I started doing all these other things, and I've enjoyed learning the most essential pillars of running a business. Absolutely. I don't regret that, but it wasn't where my true heart is, my
Mhm.
passion, my purpose, which is helping others and designing, creating, being creative. And that's, I've been able to bring all of my skill sets into this one beautiful ecosystem. And so I tell people, I got there. I finally found, right? But the thing is, it's not the end. It's just the
Uh-uh.
beginning, right? It's
Uh-huh.
just the beginning. So it's not about stopping when you get to that summit ish. I'll be happy when. That is the worst thing you could possibly do. So I know we're going to go down a ton of rabbit holes, and that's
We
totally
are.
fine. But
I want to weave in one story. I'm
yeah,
dying to tell it right now. Is it okay if
let's
I
go.
tell it? Okay,
No,
so
absolutely. Let's go
and
for it.
you're going to tell me that this is the truth, okay? So we never do this alone. We never do it alone. So there was a point in time that someone said something, someone supported you, someone directed you in a specific direction that opened yourself up to this. That's what happened to me with the woman when I was 18 years old who gave me this key.
Let's talk about the key.
Wow. And she was in her 80s and I was in my 20s. Her name was Emma. I am living her legacy. And I think, if it wasn't for her, I would not be who I am. And I'm so enormously grateful. So she
Wow.
gave me this key to open the doors to opportunity for me. And she helped me understand one thing, and it's this. I used to be in sales. I was the top sales rep in Western Canada in the beauty industry in my early 20s. I bought a home 2 blocks from the ocean when I was 21 years old.
Oh,
so I had all this financial abundance, and I really was very blessed. And the reason I was so successful is for what she said to me. One story, one comment changed my mindset, changed my motivation, and changed my inspiration. And it's this. She said, she would sit across from me at this coffee shop we used to meet at. And I felt like a blossoming butterfly every time I was with her. I mean, she loved me. She believed in me. She saw me. And she'd say, how much did you sell this month in hair products and face creams? I said, $42. And she'd say, wow, think about how those people, each person is feeling about themselves. Think of how beautiful when they look in the mirror. Think of how those products transformed their experience and how they're loving themselves. I mean, in that moment, it stopped me in my tracks. I went, oh my goodness. Well, I'm not selling $5 bottles of shampoo or $15 bottles of face cream. I'm representing the opportunity for people to fall in love with themselves, to bring that love to their kids, to their husbands, to their families, to their career. Well, I better get on it. Chop, chop, Carolyn. You better figure out how to sell more. So that's what I did. And the concept of this has carried me my whole career. And it's this, that we need to discover the deeper meaning in our service, in why we're selling our products. It's not about the thing. It's about the reason, the meaning. So that changed me forever. And she also taught me a number of other principles that I've created a 21-day above the line transformational series that is going to be my gift for your audience to receive too. So it's Emma's living legacy that I am living with this key. And my job is to inspire people to really focus on what matters most in their life and their business. And that to me is love.
Wow. What a story. I absolutely love that story. And what was Emma's? I'm just curious. What was her background? What
She
did she do?
she was a minister in the church that I went to as a child. And I grew up with a mentally ill mother that had schizophrenia and bipolar. So
Oh gosh.
I was a lost teenager, and I would have lunch with Emma, and she would put me on my path. She would set me straight. Carolyn, think above the line. Think about curiosity and solution. Think about how you can bring more love into your life. Make the decision to let go of doubt, fear, lack, being a victim. It's your decision, what you choose to manifest in your life. Connect to what matters most, your purpose, your passion, and take intentional action. I believed her. Thank you, God, that I did. And,
Yeah.
you know, she, I mean, it's one person can make a significant difference in your life, and they're probably in your life right now.
Mm.
And what I did is I stepped up and I asked for support,
Mm.
which is what my mother never did. She just
Yeah.
suffered deeply,
Yeah. And
intensely.
unfortunately, a lot of people, especially males, and that's changing a little bit, with the stigma of asking for help. But wow, what incredible! And if let me ask you this: if Emma would not have been in your life, do you think you would be in the position you are today?
Absolutely no.
Mm.
Clear.
Isn't that
Because
crazy?
it is. And I just, I want to invite your audience is if you have that one person in your life that you do love, that you see that's struggling, that you see that doesn't know the path forward, thinking above the line or realizing that this incredible life that we get to live is a glorious opportunity to love and to bring love back to life, reach out to them. Because, you speak of men, and this is where I wanted to go today, to be
Yeah.
honest, is
Yeah, I
that
know.
there's so many men suffering. Men, there's men suffering because they don't have the confidence within themselves to speak where they are struggling, to to really look at the authentic truth about what isn't working. And I just think honestly, Todd, what you know and what you have learned and what you now live is there to support men to end the suffering and the isolation and the pain emotionally, because men want to love. They just don't know how to,
Mm.
and for us women, well, I believe it's our job to crack them open. It's like
Mm.
lead with love, speak deep truth, even if it's uncomfortable, which is what I journaled about this morning.
Mm.
Is because we need to come together here to heal. We need to step up with compassion, with thoughtfulness, with kindness, and hold this space for grace for people to feel safe enough to speak their truth, because
Mm.
your journey only happened because you felt safe enough to speak your truth. And then you let it go and made a new decision and decided to think, live, and lead above the line with loving yourself, with loving your family more, with loving your children and loving what you're doing. See, to me, the truth is love is all there is, really. And we distract ourselves with doubt, fear, blame, lack, regret, anger, and negative self-talk.
Mm.
Not on my watch. Complaining, not on my watch. I'm going to love you through that.
Right.
Because, so for me, my dream is for men to realize that connecting to their heart and feeling, even if it hurts, is the way through to change everything. And I mean, can you talk a little bit about your journey with this? I mean, it's a brave journey to take. It means that you're going to change, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Where to go? A lot to unpack there, but I absolutely agree. I think there are a lot of men who are struggling right now, emotionally, mentally. I mean, we see the numbers and Gallup polls, disengagement, depression, mental health, all very high scores, unfortunately. People in general are struggling, which in turn is affecting our companies, right? And we're losing lots of productivity, which is what most people care about. So, but whatever, right? We have to get there. So to get there, you really have to care for your people, and
Yes.
you need to have that unconditional love. And we talk
Yes.
about this in positive intelligence, but that unconditional love starts with you. You have to have that. And that can be a very, very difficult journey to get there. It's not something that just happens overnight because we all have baggage and we're all being sabotaged every single day, all throughout the day, right? So many negative thoughts throughout the day. It's so easy to go down and spiral. But we can change our mindset, but we have to do some reflection. We have to be able to get vulnerable enough to look in the mirror and just say, you know what? I love you, man. Like you made so many mistakes, so many failures, but like Buddha said, all we have is the breath we're taking right now. You cannot change that. Let it go, man. Move on. What you can do is right now with this breath, that breath, the next breath, and continue. That concept, when I heard that concept from Buddha, that landed with me because I've made a tremendous amount of mistakes. And I'm not talking about failures, but stuff I've done. I'm like, man, you were an asshole.
Yeah.
Why did you do that? And that was for a lot of reasons, right? And that's why I did the work with positive intelligence. I didn't have the patience. I didn't have a pause button. I just reacted, judgmental. I didn't lead with empathy. All these things. So this was a journey. But the one thing though about all this, Carolyn, is you have to be willing to make that change, right?
Yeah.
So you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink it.
No,
So
no.
how do you, what I'm really interested in, and I've been talking about this on every show, and it's percolating a book, but I haven't landed on the exact, I have all the components, but that main concept, and it's how do we get people to be open enough to want to change?
Well,
And we can go down and talk about that for quite some time, but I think if we come into this with love, which is really kind of the epicenter of everything that you talk about, love is all there is.
mhm,
And a big part of what I do and what I talk about is leading with empathy. And empathy is, in my opinion, all love based.
of
And
course.
positive intelligence is all about shifting from the saboteurs, the negative thoughts, to the positive thoughts, which are sage, our sage brain. And you know what the sage brain is all built on? Love.
Mhm.
So we're talking the same language. Where do we go from here? Because I
I
feel like we could
I
dig
know.
into
I know
love
where we're
because
going.
love can be
Mhm.
a strange word, right?
Well,
When you
it
talk
is.
about it in
It
the
is.
workplace, when
Yeah.
you're not
And
talking about direct family and friends, right? It can be elusive.
well,
So
it
I don't
is.
know. I'll let you.
Okay, I
Where do you
know.
want to go from here?
I know exactly where I'm going to go from here. So
Good.
I'm just going to share that I've been teaching in business for almost 40 years. Business planning, keynote speaking, a lot of different realms of speaking over that. And I would never talk about love. I
Hmm.
would talk about leadership. I would talk about, memorable, customized client care. I would talk about, authentic truth marketing. It's very interesting because, I had this stigma, and the world does too, around this word, love. Well, shouldn't really talk about that in business, Carolyn. Isn't it just a little bit too soft? And, it's those, heartfelt, you know, cushy things. Well, I made a decision quite some time ago that yes, I am going to talk about love in business, and I'm going to talk about bringing love back to life in business because the, the businesses are struggling. They're suffering. They are desperate right now. And it is, as you say, to care about your people, your employees, your teams, your clients in memorable ways that loyalty grows because they make the decision to want to stay because of the love inspired leadership that are running those organizations. And, this love inspired leadership, I think, is going to change the world That's the path that you're on. That's the path that I'm on. And there's many other people in the world that are stepping up right now. I'm meeting them, and so are you. It's time now
Mm-hmm.
to take on this level of depth of responsibility to step up, show up, and speak up the truth about what this represents, and create a world that cares about each other, that is prosperous in every form, that there is a level of appreciation for the contributions that people make. So that kind of energy and vibration is much higher than survival, which is thinking below the line. So I know that this inspired connection that I speak of on my website and within my Love Inspired Leadership podcast is this one of a commitment and a decision. Because when you make a decision, everything changes. When you make a decision, everything changes because you're in alignment with that vision, that direction, and that dream that you are working towards and moving forward to. And it opens up this power of possibility that's miraculous, magical, and meaningful with purpose and commitment. So I think the world is changing, Todd, and I think we're contributing to that.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's a big responsibility, but I'm happy to play a small part.
Me too.
As you said, that with your story with Emma, all it takes is one person. So I always have to go back to the mission. Yeah, I didn't get any likes or any new followers, or I got some unsubscribes from my e-newsletter, but all it takes is one. I got one beautiful piece of feedback from you last week, and it made my day. That's all I needed.
Well,
Is somebody read the damn newsletter. Thank you. And
well,
actually found it insightful, and maybe it inspired
well,
you. Maybe it inspired you to do tremendous change, or maybe just one small shift, or maybe it just made you smile because
I love your newsletter. I
right?
think it's
So,
filled with value. I think it's incredibly intentional with your impact. I think that when people really dive into your newsletter, as into the message and the meaning and the opportunity for them to transform their lives, they will. And I get your newsletter. It is a magnificent contribution. And I think you're making a meaningful difference in many people's lives that you don't even know about it. And for you to receive that appreciation, didn't that feel fabulous when I told you
oh,
that?
absolutely. My love
I mean,
language is words of affirmation. So
yeah, perfect.
I, I, I take it anytime I can get it. I don't love that that's my love language, but it is what it is. That at least I know. I did the work to at least understand what it is, and then I can tell my wife and tell others, and so
Yeah.
they can feed me. But let's go back, Carolyn, to that heart centered, that love centered leadership.
Mm.
What can, so we have a lot of leaders that listen to the show. What are some practical, tactical ideas that they can put into place today, tomorrow, to start leading more with this kind of heart centered, this love centered approach?
Okay, well, I call it love inspired leadership. And as you said earlier, it's a journey. This does not happen overnight. And I created a system called the Aim High System. It's 40 years put into 6 simple steps, simple. And the where you start, the beginning, to open the door to opportunity to live this purpose-driven business life, is to tell yourself the truth. Truth is where you start. What's working, what isn't working, what are you tolerating? And look way deep down into the mirror and look at the truth and own it without judgment, staying above the line with curiosity and a commitment to make new decisions, to change and transform your position, to rise up, to be the leader that you are meant to be. Because I know each of us have an internal voice of wisdom. It whispers to us. It is calling us forward. And when we are bold enough, courageous enough, and brave enough to look at the truth, that's where we need to go. It's simple, small, transitional decisions to change. I mean, it's what you did. It's what I've done. So truth is the first step. Second step is to trust yourself, to follow through with what you will say you will do for you. So it's to build your own confidence. See, when we don't follow through with what we commit to, we lose our confidence. We slip below the line. We doubt and we're in fear that we are the leader that we are presenting ourselves to be. So I'm suggesting make a decision, follow through, and be accountable to not only yourself, but someone else, someone that matters most to you. We don't do this journey alone. When we do, it's way too hard. So Emma changed my life. I've had many people in my life, in my dream team, who are like Emma, who remind me who I am, who I say, okay, in the next 90 days, this is the result, this is the goal, this is the vision that I'm working towards. Daily, I will have disciplined practice towards that. And then I do my check-ins. And when I'm off the path, I get back on. So invite support. You know, my mom suffered, as I said, from schizophrenia and bipolar disease. And the reason she suffered so much, she was my greatest teacher. She was my greatest motivation and inspiration in my thinking and my self-awareness. She didn't ask for support, ever. She just went into the black hole, had 3 nervous breakdowns. I witnessed every one of them. I supported her through them. It was, traumatic and dramatic. And it was grace for me too, because my motivation is high. And you know what? Every one of us can trust ourselves. Third one is value. So once you see the truth, you start living your truth, being committed to your truth, following through with what you say you're going to do, building that level of accountability. Then you get to see your value. This is the third step of the Aim High system that I take people through in my masterminds, as well as one-on-one executive coaching that I do. So the third one is value. What I see in the world in business, people don't own their value. They don't even know this extraordinary gifts, talents, and expertise that they represent or stand for. If we don't know, how is anybody else going to discover that? So I think the next exploration and clarity is value. And then you get to design your beautiful, glorious vision and hold that space for grace consistently. And then take intentional action daily, weekly, consistently, sustainably towards that vision. And I think you need to invest in yourself through support, like you, like me, like other people that you know can be your guides, because you've bought your own basic stories for quite some time. And when you're ready to become a love-inspired leader, it does mean change. But when you can receive that compassionate, empathetic guidance, it makes the world of difference. The fifth step, you talked about it, is presence, focused energy, being in the moment, releasing the past old stories, and allowing the present moment to lead and guide. and have faith in the future. Know that it's only going to get better from here. And the last one is to celebrate, and I am so passionate about this one. The wins that we have, we need to not just celebrate within, we have to celebrate without. So all those people that are on your dream team, your family, your strategic alliances who love you, you got to share with them your wins, and you got to do your happy soul dance with them and celebrate, because that's going to nail in those narrow pathways to hold that vision even more, keep that confidence steady, and expand your big dreams even beyond the vision that you've created. So that's my 6-step system. That's the journey. It's magnificent. It's miraculous. And it's what I believe every entrepreneur needs to commit to, that journey.
We'll be right back after this short message. Hey, it's Todd again. Did you know that mental fitness is the secret weapon for transformational leadership? Your mind may be sabotaging you, leading you down a path of stress and negativity, but it doesn't have to be this way. If you're ready to unlock the resilience to empower yourself and the team you lead, listen up. Through the Positive Intelligence Program, PQ for short, I help leaders build mental strength, manage stress, and boost emotional intelligence. Imagine reducing burnout, improving your relationships, and increasing performance, all backed by neuroscience. I'm living proof of its power, having built my own mental fitness with PQ over the last 5 years. Ready to build yours? Visit toddbirch.com or email me at tb@toddbirch.com for a free consultation. Now let's get back to the show. Wow. I love it. I love it. I've done it. I continue to do it. It works. It's messy in the middle, but it works, and that's okay. I was writing I haven't done a solo cast on my show in a while, and I did a talk. It's a Disrupt HR talk, which is a 5-minute talk in Ann Arbor last month, and it was about embracing discomfort and creating a growth-oriented culture. There was one slide that resonated. There was one that really stood out, and it just simply said, "Perfectionism kills progress."
Yes.
I had so much feedback on that one slide, and people taking pictures of it, posting on social. I'm like, I need to dig in further. So anyhow, I was writing the outline for that this morning. And if you're a perfectionist, you will not grow. Right. So not sure where I was going with that, but
well, I do. I know where you're going. I love this. I love this so much. So we either choose to be a perfectionist and control everything. I mean, this has been all my journaling and part of the 21-day Aim High series that I'm going to share with you, is that the key to our success is releasing control. The dichotomy is this: well, if I release control, oh gosh, am I going to have havoc? Is it going to be chaos? No, the opposite is true. The truth is, we get to define what matters most when we let go to lead, when we release the control of it being perfect. So it's going from progression and control to presence and acceptance, right? So it's what I find about life, the most fascinating thing. I mean, I wake up every day and I just say, thank you, God, for another glorious day of opportunity to learn, to lead, to live this way. Is this fascination of learning. I mean, aren't you just completely fascinated by, I get phrases that come to me. Those are those whispers of, internal wisdom. And then I have to journal about it when I get up, because, I got to expand this. I got to dive into this. And then more comes. I mean, so this idea of perfectionism and releasing that is freedom too, Todd.
It is. You say I have I have several comments that I wrote down as notes from our first talk, but you talk about surrender. And that's
Yes.
the word that resonated with me. You need to surrender. And one of the things that happens, Carolyn, as we focus on perfection is we lose our curiosity. I talk a lot about curiosity. I do believe that that is the key. And I'm reading several books on curiosity and digging into some research. And one of the things that I learned, there's a couple different um, levels of curiosity. And I believe what you were talking about is epistemic. I believe that's how you pronounce it, epistemic curiosity, where it's the deep dive. It's not just the novelty, right, piece, because we see something new we want to go after. We're curious, what the heck is it? No, this is about being deeply curious and wanting to dive into that subject matter. Um, so anyhow, yeah, curiosity, love, there, there's so many gratitude.
Yes,
There's
yes.
so many different ways. And what I find funny is that all of this is so simple and
Oh,
it's
it is.
free.
It
And
is.
it's a lot of it is free. You can do it on your own, but you just need to commit. You just need to start.
Well,
That's it.
and
One
decide,
thing, and decide and
decide.
commit and have that
Yeah,
conviction, like you said. So
yeah. So,
I just
uh,
talk about and I coach just 1% better every day. That's it. Because you're going to start to get that compounding effect. Next thing you
absolutely.
know, you're a machine, and a machine in a good way. You're
Wow.
running on all cylinders, and you get into the flow, and you're happy and fulfilled, and doing the work that you love. And there's nothing more beautiful than
Uh-uh.
that, because then it's not work.
No chance.
It is your purpose,
Yeah. And you're living
right?
it. You're
Right. You're
living
living
it.
it.
And
So
you have the opportunity to be curious, to have wonder and creativity and innovation and have fun. So people think entrepreneurship is heavy and serious and hard. It's not. Not when you're in your lane of joy. It's not. It's the
right.
opposite. So
So how
that's okay. Go ahead.
I was just say, how do you stay checked? That's that's one of the things that,
Okay,
like,
good
for
question.
me, I'm 16 years in business. I had that going into it. Again, the passion to create this. I found a gap. I filled it. Then things change. You start to scale in people and processes and HR and financials. And now, yes, I'm learning and I'm curious, but I'm not happy. I'm doing all these
It's not fun
things and I feel like
anymore.
I'm not right. So
Uh-uh. So,
what's
um,
your advice with
huh,
all these businesses that you help? What do you tell them? What is there a checkpoint and accountability? Well,
right.
here's one thing I will say. Going back, I felt like I was on an island. Tom
Mhm.
Hanks on an island with the volleyball all by myself. But
Pulling
I
his teeth
was,
out.
yeah, but I was afraid I was in a fixed mindset. I was afraid to ask for help. I
That's
was
right.
afraid to get feedback, right? All I was doing was managing my own fear.
Hmm.
So I couldn't get
Well,
off the
that's your
island. I
evidence.
could, okay.
That's your evidence right there. And the truth is, I love this phrase, and it's not only just true in life; it's true in business. There's a reason, there's a season, and sometimes there's a lifetime. And
Mm,
I've had
mm,
many business partnerships over the last 40 years. I've had many
mm,
businesses too. And I know that when it is fueling me, feeding me, inspiring me creatively, purposely, and passionately, that's my lane of joy. But what happens is things get successful or they fall apart. It's one or two positions, right? And I
mm,
have a decision to make. I mean, I started a incredible global networking community when COVID hit. We had 23 countries. I hosted 150, 175 people on Zoom at a time every week. We had numbers of events. We had 6,500 people come through our events. And I got to a place, this position I'm in now, my Love Inspired Leadership podcast and number of other trainings I'm doing and speaking, kept calling me. This voice inside of me said, Carolyn, you got to let that go. I know it's good. I know you love the people, because I did. I know you're making a meaningful difference, because I was. I know you learned how to connect with 150 people on Zoom, and that was a journey of surrender. Let me tell you, I'd always done live events.
Right. I can imagine.
And I knew I needed to transition. I knew I needed to make a decision with respect, honor, compassion, and love. And that's how I transitioned from that partnership. So we still care for each other. We still have a great friendship. She's leading that organization, and I stepped away. It was clean. It was beautiful. It was respectful. Yet, it's having this willingness to live your own truth, because unless we can do that, we suffer. I knew I had to let it go. I knew this other part was calling me. And now I have the opportunity of living this. And it may change too. I mean, it's this willingness to let go, to lead.
Yeah, willingness to let go, to surrender. But I also feel like, and you said something early on that I wanted to come back to, and it's the beginning, but it's also the reflection. So there needs to be a process. I spent a good amount of time at the end of last year to create what I'm calling the Spark Life Audit Toolkit. It taps into every pillar. It asks some interesting questions in each pillar in life, and then you rate, right? So your health, fitness, love, relationships, faith, habits, career, all these different things, and you score it. So unless you take the time to reflect, you don't know where you're at. And maybe journaling is one form of that, right? So this is a little bit more structured, almost like a strengths finder test. Here's your results. Oh shit, my scores are low, and but I do it with my wife, so we both do it, and we have this kind of comparison, like, oh, I thought, she said, I thought our scores would be higher as a relationship pillar. Said, well, we got some things, let's talk through. But you have to be willing to do that reflection. And the funny thing is, I look at the results of my social posts, email, and clicks on that link to that audit tool, and I've only had a few people actually do it. And what I realize is it's so scary to flip the rock up and see what's underneath it, or to look in the mirror. There's so much fear of what you're going to find. So how do we get over that? Right? There's so many people, like you said, we're all beautiful, unique. We have everything we need, but we have this plaster facade that covers us, and we just need to chip away. But what is it? What is it that we can do to entice people? And maybe it's just this. It's the messages, it's the keynotes, to go out and spread. And what do they say? The teacher will arrive when the student is ready. But I want to get more students ready. That's the piece. So that's the piece where I'm at. And I love reason, season, lifetime. And I do believe there's a piece that I'm focusing on in the book about seasons, because I think I talked about the curiosity continuum, fixed and growth mindset, the line. And there is, if you look at, I would guess, and I'm going to collect this data, but if you look at 50 to 100 people, you probably see a similar trend. And it's the season from child to adult. And so anyhow, went off on some paths there, but
it's fine. It's fine. So this is the big question. How do we overcome fear? I mean, how do we do it? What can I do that's actually going to motivate me to make a decision to change? What is it? That's the big question. So I will tell you my answer.
Okay. And I have an answer. Well, I have some hypotheses.
How we overcome fear is this: we need a reason. I love Simon Sinek. His power of why, and
Why? Yep.
it's the reason, it's the meaning. I am an extremely greedy person. I love having vitality at almost 67 years old. I love my life. And I know that my reason for doing everything is energy. I honor my body, I honor my mind, and I honor what my internal calling is asking of me to do. I follow through. So I'm speaking to your audience right now, you need to find your reason. And it needs to be so meaningful that you're going to get over yourself and smarten up and make that final decision to just change things. And it's not a big leap like you think it's going to be. And it's small, little, incremental steps. I didn't do yoga for 30 years. And every day I do yoga now. And I love it. I meditate after with my forehead on the ground and just cry out of gratitude for the present moment. So, so whatever you're resisting, get to it, because that's your opportunity. That's the miracles. That's the magic. That's what you're supposed to lean into, to take intentional action, and just take little steps, and also report it to someone else so they can kick your butt if you need it. I have one dream team member that when I go off the path, even for an hour, I'll tell you, Todd, I report in and say, thinking below the line here, help, need a lifeline. Where am I off track here? And I can speak to her in 2 minutes and she'll say, boom, 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 boom. I say, thank you. And I'm back up. So you need a support system too.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I'm just, I wish I could take notes while I do these episodes, because there's so much. I'm going to go back, thinking below and above the line. That's a book title right there. But anyhow,
it is. And I'm
I agree
working
with
on it
everything
right
that
now.
you said. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Carolyn. So many different points there. I could go on and on about fear. I think I talk about it in every episode, but fear is, it's sabotage based. It's a big part of positive intelligence, and building your mental muscle is how you can overcome fear. You asked a question, why? We all need a reason. And most people, it's a traumatic event, which is what my reason was. I got the shit kicked out of me, when I was doing drugs, and I said, I can't do this anymore. That was my reason. And some people, it's even more traumatic, it's a death or whatever. We don't want that, right? We don't want that. People to have to go through that. So there are other reasons. So I think, and I'm still discovering what those reasons can be for different people. And it is a season in life, but I feel like those that are parents, an easy one is your kids, your spouse, like that, right? Because what we'll do is we will give everything to and for our kids. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what suffers is our own self, right?
It is.
Right. So if that is what drives you, then maybe that's your reason.
Exactly.
Right. Because if you can live happy, joyful, purposeful life, you are going to live longer and be around longer for your kids.
And healthier, mentally,
right.
physically,
Less stress, less anxiety.
spiritually.
These all lead to living a longer life. Do you want to see your kids get married? Do you want to see and hold your grandkids? Those could be the reasons right there. That's all you need. So make one shift Start a gratitude practice, start a meditation practice, start yoga, take the cooking class, write the book, go for a walk, take the vacation that you've always wanted to take, and jump out of an airplane. What are you waiting for? Don't let fear hold you back.
Mm-mm. And the way I look at fear, I mean, this is as dramatic it is for me because my reason was seeing the suffering my mom went through. Even when I was 10 years old, I thought, I'm figuring this out. I am not going to go through. And then when I was 14, then I was 17, then I reached out to Emma when I was 18. I mean, changed my life. But here's the truth. Even if you're in a relationship or have family members that are deeply suffering, it's up to you to channel and make the decision for your own life because you can. And my motivation was to not experience that depth of suffering.
Right.
So, and that's the truth for me. And it's continued to be. And the discoveries that you have the opportunity of making down this path, it's all about love, though. When you were talking about your kids, that's love. You're talking about your relationship, that's love too. You're talking about honoring yourself, that's love too. So when we can decide to tap our toe into the pool of honoring and loving ourselves first, that's where you start. Make decisions that bring joy to your life. I mean, I'm having way more fun in my life right now than I have in decades because I decide to, and I set it up.
I love that visual. You just put a visual in my head of dipping one toe in the water. Just one toe. And that's what we talk about with small shifts. So anyhow, Carolyn, we can go on. We're coming to the end here. You and I can go on for hours. And my hope is that we will continue this conversation. And many more conversations, and I would imagine some collaborations because we just connect on all levels. The energy is high, and it's important. The messages are important. So, listeners, I hope you loved this episode. I know I loved this conversation. There's so much here. These are simple things, but you just need to take some action. So, Carolyn, you have so many, what do you call them? Not catchphrases, but
a phrase that pays.
Phrase that pays. So leave us with one phrase that pays.
Simplify to secure success.
Simplify to
secure success. That's the way you think. That's the decisions you make. That's choosing your next steps. That's has reflections of your willingness to let go, to release the resistance, to align yourself with what matters most. And to me, it's love. I invite you to do the same.
Excellent. Thank you, Carolyn, for your time today, for your wisdom, for your devotion and commitment to your craft.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's continue our conversation.
I would love it. And my final words, my gift is I will provide for everybody here my 21-day above the line transformational email series, which is my gift to you, which is an audio of less than 3 minutes every day that will land in your email box, and some incredibly sacred opportunities for meditative reflection, and journal prompts will be supplied to you too. And it's beautiful. What I hold is it will support you to transform, to bring love back to life personally and professionally.
Love it. Great. We'll include that in the show notes, and then we'll also include that in our e-newsletter that's every Monday. So if you haven't signed up for our e-newsletter, please do. You don't want to miss out on this. So thank you, Carolyn. Again, it's been a true pleasure. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Bolt Podcast. I appreciate you spending some time with us today, and it's been a pleasure being part of your journey toward growth, transformation, and leadership. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and leave a review. It truly helps us reach more people like you. Interested in taking your leadership to the next level? Visit toddbirch.com to learn more about my keynote speaking, corporate training programs, and my positive intelligence coaching. Look, I'm here to help you build the mental resilience and leadership skills that drive lasting change. And remember, progress comes from small, consistent steps. Keep moving forward, my friends. And before we wrap, a quick reminder, the information shared on the Bolt podcast, along with anything from toddbirch.com or my social media channels, is for informational and educational purposes only. We all need support, and if you're seeking meaningful guidance, one of the best things you can do is talk to a licensed professional. Whether that's a physician, therapist, or coach, they can provide the support and care you deserve. The content on this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you're facing a medical emergency or need immediate assistance, please reach out to the appropriate healthcare provider or emergency services. Hey guys, take care of yourself, stay kind to your mind, and remember, help is always available when you need it. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.